Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we are going to continue our lesson related to Kingdom of Animalia. So we are going to start with bilateral symmetry, acoelomate and pseudocoelomate animals. Okay, so just to recap again, alright. So we have started with phylum Porifera. So an animal phylum that do not have definite symmetry, meaning that absence of symmetry, and they are not made of cells, they are not made of tissue, they just made of specialized cells that have specific function. Okay, next we did discuss on the second phylum, which is Phylum Cnidaria, right? So Phylum Cnidaria are those animals that have body symmetry. Some of them have bilateral symmetry and some of them have radial symmetry. Okay, and they are made up of tissue. Okay, how many layers of tissue? Yeah, they are made of 2 layers of tissue, ectoderm and endoderm. All right, and they are not having a true digestive system, but what they have is just only a digestive compartment, or we call as gastrovascular cavity, that has single opening, which that single opening acts as both mouth and also anus. Okay, all right. So now we are going to proceed with bilateral symmetry, acoelomate and pseudocoelomate. So we are moving into the next phylum, that these animals made up of 3 layers of tissue. 3 layers of tissue, which we call as triploblastic. So remember, phylum Porifera, they are not made of tissue, they just made of cell. Phylum Cnidaria, they made up of tissue, but only 2 layers of tissue. So now in this phylum that we are going to discuss here are those animals that made up of 3 layers of tissue, which we call as triploblastic, and they are then subdivided. Either they are having body cavities, or false body cavity, or they are having true body cavity. Okay, so we are going to start first with the phylum, the third phylum, Phylum Platyhelminthes. The example is the flatworm. Okay, so Platyhelminthes are known as acoelomate. So acoelomate means they do not have body cavity. So in such a way that they are just very flat. You can see their body is flattened dorso-ventrically. Okay, meaning that they are so flat, alright, which they do not have body cavity. Okay, and they shows bilateral symmetry. Okay, and they are known as acoelomate. Remember, acoelomate means do not have body cavity. Okay, most of flatworms live in marine. Some are living in fresh water, and some living in damp terrestrial, meaning that they are living on damp land area. Okay, alright, and some of them include parasitic species, parasite, okay, such as fluke and also tapeworm. Okay, fluke ni sort of like pacat, lintah. Okay, right. And they are having 3 layers of body tissue: ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. Okay, and the body show no segmentation, meaning there are no repeated unit in their body. Okay, right. So you can see here, this is an example of the tapeworm. Okay, and also the fluke and also tapeworm. Okay, all right. So this is an example of Platyhelminthes. Okay, all right. This is marine type of Platyhelminthes. Okay, so you can see here, this is the anatomy of planarian. So planarian is a kind, as an example of tapeworm. Okay, so you can see that they have pharynx. Okay, pharynx. So this is pharynx. So it is a muscular pharynx that can be extended through mouth. So digestive juice are spilled into the prey, and the pharynx suck the pieces of the food into the gastrovascular cavity, where the digestion continues. Okay, so meaning that they have what we call it, they have single opening. So digestion is completed within the cell in the gastrovascular cavity, and then all the undigested waste will be egested through the opening of the tip of the pharynx. So meaning that they still have one opening. Okay, all right. And you can see Platyhelminthes shows development of nervous tissue, okay, meaning that they show cephalization, okay. So they have a structure that called as ganglia, and also this ventral nerve cord. Okay, alright. So the main function of this ganglia is to sensory function, okay, and also they have dense cluster of nerve cells. So meaning that they show a very simple cephalization, okay, right, and development of nervous system. Okay, this picture shows you another example of Platyhelminthes, which is the blood fluke. So you can see the blood fluke live in the blood vessels of human intestine, right? And you can see the structure. A fluke is also a hermaphrodite, okay? Hermaphrodite means they have both male and female sexual reproduction structure, okay, within one organism, right? So you can see the blood fluke reproduce sexually in the human host and then exit the fertilized egg from the host via feces. So then in water, for example, those time orang dulu-dulu kan buang air merata-rata, for example buang dekat tempat yang tanah lembik ke whatever. So the egg then develop in the water and then develop into larva. So this larva will then infect another host, which is the snail. So snail become the second host. So within the snail, they undergo a sexual reproduction. So this detail of type of reproduction you will learn in chapter 9 later. Okay, and then the result from the sexual reproduction, it will produce another larva, where this larva will infect skin of human, open skin. For example, ada luka kat kaki ke, so they will infect the skin and then host, the human will become the host. Okay, so this is another example of Platyhelminthes, which is the tapeworm. Okay, cacing pita bahasa Melayu, right? So you can see they have proglottis with reproduction structure, and they have this structure that we call as hook, and also sucker that used to cling, adhere to the intestine, okay, the inner wall of the intestine of human and animals. Okay, so most of them have digestive system, like I mentioned, with single opening, with mouth, with no anus. So all the undigested waste will just be digested out or excreted out from the tips of the pharynx. Okay, flatworm have no specialized organ for gaseous exchange and circulation. Okay, so basically meaning that they still use diffusion or very simple mechanism. Okay, they have relatively simple excretory and osmoregulatory system, right? Meaning that how they excrete and how they remove waste. So they have a structure that we call as protonephridia. Okay, protonephridia. So protonephridia is a fine network of tubule within ciliated cell that is known as the phloem cell. So you can see here. Just to show this picture, they are bilateral symmetry. They show cephalization, okay, by having ganglia and ventral nerve cord, and they have single digestive tract, which is the pharynx. Okay, all right. So I'm going to show you the protonephridia. So this is the protonephridia. All right. So the protonephridia has a structure that we call as the phloem cell or the phloem bulb that used to help them in terms of osmoregulation. Okay, so that's all about phylum Platyhelminthes. So I will proceed in the next video for another phylum.